This is ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Good evening, I'm Haley Wilgus. Alan is off tonight. First this evening, a week of victories for pro-choice advocates across the country, including here in Florida. New rules on abortion clinics were set to go into effect today, but a ruling from a federal judge is putting some portions of that law on hold. Florida abortion providers were set to lose all taxpayer funding, but a judge's ruling says the state doesn't have the authority to do so on the sole basis of a clinic providing abortion services. A mandate for annual inspections of records, that's also been struck down.
And this is about preventative health care. Planned Parenthood sees 1 in 5 women across America at some point for their reproductive health care. And we're just gratified that we'll have access now to funding.
I'm paying to support this thing that I hate. That goes against everything I believe. And I believe eventually that ruling will be overturned.
The judge did keep one provision in the law which redefines the first trimester of pregnancy. The 4th of July weekend is here, and the state fire marshal wants to make sure it is a safe one for all Floridians. Last year, firefighters responded to more than 140 incidents related to the improper use of fireworks. State law bans the sale of airborne fireworks such as bottle rockets and Roman candles, but a loophole allows an exemption for those buying them for agricultural purposes, like scaring away birds from crops.
There are vendors out there who may sell fireworks, and you might try to sign a waiver stating that you will use them for one of the exempted purposes. What we want to caution people is that that waiver does not release you from any liability.
Illegal use of fireworks can result in a $1,000 fine and up to a year in prison. State regulators are also advising Floridians to be cautious of travel scams. There are red flags that you can watch for when it comes to vacation rentals. Scammers typically seek large upfront deposits. So do request personal information, and if they're asking for that from you, you need to think twice and ask that fees be paid with a wire transfer or prepaid credit card. That's another red flag. And regulators say if something seems too good to be true, well, it probably is. In Venice, the seaboard along the Intracoastal Waterway is getting a much-needed facelift. The view of the water may be nice to look at, but the industrial area alongside it, well, not so much. Now, Venice Area Beautification Incorporated is beginning the early phases of a years-long project to add native plants and make the stretch more environmentally friendly. A local artist has already created a rendition of what the area should look like when it's all said and done.
The area all along Seaboard will have tall trees that will create shade.
Venice Area Beautification raised funds for the project. They hope to have new trees planted within a year. The Venice Police Department is launching a new program to keep boaters safe. A life jacket loaner station is open at the Venice Avenue boat ramp. Life jackets are available for boaters who may not have one or have the wrong size. The station is the first of its kind here on the Suncoast. It's being paid for through a grant from the Sea Tow Foundation. If you're planning to be out on the water this holiday weekend, speaking of boating, the Coast Guard wants to make sure you stay safe. More boaters will be on the water this weekend, so be mindful of other vessels. In addition to wearing those life jackets, the Coast Guard reminds you to keep certain items on board at all times, including a fire extinguisher and flares.
It happens in a blink of a second, and it could be something as small as not knowing where a fire extinguisher is at or not knowing where our life jackets are. So we just basically try and educate the public.
Coast Guard officials will also be doing random safety inspections, so make sure you are prepared before you go out. And now for a check on our weather for the boating weather, 4th of July, and the Superboat Grand Prix. Let's head out live to ABC 7 Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. He is at the block party on Main Street.
That's right. We are live here right now. This place is happening right now. Serafino, who is the throttle man for Alex and Annie, the jewelry store right here, and they're based out of Georgia?
They're headquartered out of Creston, Rhode Island, Alex and Annie.
Rhode Island, but they have Georgia as well. And I tell you what, you're letting people sign the boat right here.
We want everybody on board when we whoop Geico on Sunday. I noticed that Miss Geico, I could smell the fear when I walked by the boat a little bit earlier. So we're going to have some laughs at those guys. We're going to play with them a little bit.
Serafino, I'll tell you what, you guys got a sleek-looking boat here, and you're really fan favorite, too. A lot of fans coming up here and signing the boat right here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that myself here a little bit later.
The fans make it all happen. That's why we're here.
Keep up the good work.
Good job.
All right, Serafino. Thank you, and good luck this weekend.
Have a wonderful evening, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Alex and Annie right here. Come on and visit and check out the boat. It goes on till 11 o'clock tonight, and the weather couldn't be better. Let's go to the maps and show you what's happening as far as that goes. We are looking at generally fair skies up and down the coast, and I'll tell you what, it'll stay that way too, it looks like, right on in through much of the weekend. We are looking at a possibility of an isolated shower or two in the morning, but not much. You know, if we get any rain at all, it'll be isolated in the morning and early afternoon. Then the majority of the rainfall, like we've seen all week long, will be inland, pushing off toward the east coast. So again, that's what we're looking at for this weekend. The weather headlines look like this. Chance for showers and storms again along the coast in the morning, and then mainly inland storms in the afternoon. The heat index up near 100 degrees. And then as far as the forecast goes this evening, there are some showers approaching Anna Maria. There's a little line there, but it should not have an impact on our weather here along this event this evening. That shower activity is starting to break up a little bit. Still about 10 miles offshore from Anna Maria, so expect some rain there by around 8 o'clock or so. Again, the forecast is calling for decent weather for the weekend, great weather for the 4th of July. Here's the 7-day forecast as it shakes out. A slight chance for a few showers here and there, but overall, a pretty nice forecast for the 4th of July with high temperatures right around 90 degrees. Serafino signing autographs right here. He's the throttle man for the big boat. Alex and Annie, and I'll tell you what, they're going against Geico. Going against Geico. Bring him in here. Yeah, that's right. You guys having fun?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Back to you, Haley. Having fun out
Thank
here
you,
in the block
Bob. Looks
party.
like a fun time. Sign my name on one of those, too.
Tom,
It is.
Who's going to win on Sunday?
All right.
Thank you, Bob. Looks like fun. Well, still to come, it seems like some of those boats off the coast never move. It's because many of them are abandoned. We'll find out what can be done to remove these vessels when we come back.
ABC 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at 5.
You know what scares me? No electricity. Yeah, when this magical box suddenly stops working, I call the pros at Mr. Sparky and they send a superhero to save the day. How's it going, Pablo?
It's going great, Mike.
Pablo possesses amazing skill. He can perform incredible feats at blinding speed. Superhero!
Couldn't have done it without you.
Modest, too.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Just to be clear, I don't live here.
This Sarasota Powerboat Grand Prix Minute is brought to you by Florida Leather Gallery.
Your support during the Grand Prix Festival makes a difference. Community Haven for Adults and Children with Disabilities is one of 5 area nonprofit agencies receiving support from Suncoast Charities for Children and the Suncoast Foundation. Thanks to a recent grant, a new roof was installed on their adult training facility. Special project funding like this ensures program and service money goes directly to clients who need it the most.
Florida Leather Gallery is celebrating the 4th of July with spectacular savings. Take 33% off hundreds of styles. Experience freedom of choice with a wide and wonderful assortment of leathers. Freedom from worry with our impressive collection of protected leathers. And freedom from guilt as we proudly offer the lowest price guaranteed. Plus, free delivery. It's all happening right now. Come celebrate with our Lexperts at our 6 Florida Leather Galleries.
Last month, Tropical Storm Colin brought heavy storms and rough waters to the Suncoast. Overnight, some boats came unanchored and caused thousands of dollars worth of damage to the Bradenton Beach day dock. When no owners came forward, the city was left paying the bill. ABC 7's Adam Cellini is joining us with more on what can be done about these derelict boats. Adam.
Yeah, Haley, it's not just the city. Residents are desperate for a more efficient way to hold these boaters responsible for their property, but unfortunately, in many ways, the law is not on their side.
A horizon full of sailboats. Some say it adds to the island community charm of Bradenton Beach. But locals say there's nothing charming about the people living on board those vessels, free of charge for years at a time.
We are answering questions all the time about these boats, and they're always amazed when we tell them that they're actually currently used as a liveaboard boat.
These aren't boaters. These are people that pick up a derelict boat, very reasonable as far as cost-wise. They don't register them. and they don't insure them.
For the last 5 years, Jeremy Thomas has lived in a boat off the Bradenton Beach Pier. He says a few irresponsible boaters create a stigma for everyone, with some restaurants even refusing service to those who live on the water.
It's our God-given right to live how we want to live, and we should still be treated like civilians, like we are.
Michael Drake lives just south of Bradenton Beach on Longboat Key, boating up and down the Barrier Islands for over 30 years. Besides the aesthetics, he says it's uncomfortable sharing the waters with boats that are generally uninsured, sometimes unregistered, and steered by people with nothing to lose.
What they do is they just walk away from the mess that they've created by being irresponsible, and then the taxpayers are the ones that are burdened with their not being responsible.
In June, Tropical Storm Colin sank 5 boats anchored off the Bradenton Beach Pier, 2 of which did more than $30,000 of damage to the day dock. The boats went unclaimed, leaving the city to pay for not only the damage, but $10,000 to remove the vessels.
Most of the people that are living on these boats are not the registered owners. So most of the time the letters come back and it's up to the city to remove those vessels.
Bradenton Beach Police Chief Sam Speciale admits there's a problem. Officers conduct regular safety checks, but beyond writing citations, their powers are limited.
There is nothing that says that in our ordinance that they have to fix it. So basically, we could cite them, then they can just keep the same issue going on with that boat, and then next time we come out, we'll just cite them again.
Florida Fish and Wildlife can tag at-risk boats, notify owners to take action, and eventually remove them if no one responds. The problem is anyone can claim the boat in the interim, and following a few short steps, they can even become the new owner.
We just have to figure out a way how to get a handle on it.
Thomas says he owns 5 boats. All of them registered, but none of them insured.
Jobs aren't out there like they used to be. People ain't making the same amount of money they used to. So you gotta survive somehow, right?
Bradenton Beach officials have long considered adding a mooring field to allow boats to anchor in designated areas near the pier.
If they did that, then they're gonna be charging us $300-400 a month.
As for Drake, he says having a permanent location for boats could make owners more accountable.
Either make them productive, if not productive, at least responsible for what they should be responsible for.
Then maybe everyone could welcome the sailboats as part of that picture-perfect horizon.
Plans to finance a cost-benefit analysis of a mooring field took a hit after they assessed the costly damage to the day dock in Bradenton Beach. But Chief Speciale says he will keep pushing the project. Haley?
Thank you, Adam. And when we come back, we'll speak with Florida Fish and Wildlife about the complicated laws surrounding this issue.
At ABC 7, it's all about being here for you. ABC 7 News at 7 with award-winning investigative journalist Alan Cohn. In-depth reporting and debate on important issues and stories in our community with a featured topic of the day and a live roundtable discussion with community leaders and newsmakers. Plus a quick recap of the day's top stories and weather. ABC 7 News at 7 weeknights. Now more than ever, we're here for you, Suncoast. Don't miss the 32nd annual Sarasota Powerboat Grand Prix Festival, June 25th through July 4th. This year's festival features a kickoff party at the Sarasota Yacht Club, Boats on Main block party, 2 days of aquacross and powerboat racing off Lido Beach, bayfront fireworks, and so much more. Produced by and benefiting Suncoast Charities for Children. For festival info and VIP race day viewing tickets, visit SarasotaPowerboatGrandPrix.org. This Sarasota Powerboat Grand Prix Minute is brought to you by Florida Leather Gallery.
This year's Grand Prix race will feature 2 full days of racing with more than 60 aquacross teams racing personal watercraft and 10 superstock race teams averaging speeds around 85 miles an hour. There will also be more than 25 powerboat teams racing at speeds approaching 100 miles an hour in the production class. And in the extreme class, the boats top 150 miles an hour. You don't want to miss this non-stop race action off Lido Beach.
Florida Leather Gallery is celebrating the 4th of July with spectacular savings. Take 33% off hundreds of styles. Experience freedom of choice with a wide and wonderful assortment of leathers. Freedom from worry with our impressive collection of protected leathers. And freedom from guilt as we proudly offer the lowest price guaranteed. Plus, free delivery. It's all happening right now. Come celebrate with our Lexperts at our 6 Florida Leather Galleries.
Joining us now for more on tonight's topic is Bradenton Beach Mayor Bill Sharon, and via Skype we have Phil Horning, administrator of the Derelict Vessel Program at the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us tonight. I'll start with Mayor Sharon. You lived on a boat yourself,
Yep.
so you can relate to this lifestyle. Tell us a little bit about it and why someone might choose to do that.
Well, living on a boat is an experience. Unfortunately, in our Anchorage area, a lot of the boaters that are there are not boaters. They're residents living on boats, and they don't have the skill or knowledge of being a boater. So that makes it hard for the true live-aboard boater.
And now, Phil, let's talk about the laws surrounding living on a boat. What are they currently here in Florida?
Well, there's real no laws as far as there's the maritime law. Anybody can anchor their boat and live there. The laws are very very generic, based on the old-time maritime law. So we don't have any, in Bradenton Beach, we don't have any real control over boats that are anchored in our anchorage.
All right, Mr. Horning, with people living on these boats without insurance, what are some of the issues that might arise?
Well, first of all, there is the ability for a county or a city to regulate live-aboard vessels in their county within that jurisdiction. So laws can be made and ordinance can be enforced in that aspect. As far as people living on board with no insurance, there's no requirement for a vessel owner to have insurance on their vessel. Obviously, if it's financed, they would probably have to have. But it's, as the other guest was talking about, in Admiralty, many things have gone as just a way that boaters operate within their own communities. And these days, some of these things are getting a little farther away from where they used to be in the past. So more laws have to be made.
Yeah, speaking of that, what is the enforcement level? Even if more laws are made, is enforcement still an issue?
It is. I mean, just for instance, right now we have 368 active derelict vessel cases throughout the state. We're estimating that's about $3.6 million worth of removals. This year, thanks to the Florida legislature, we do have an allocation of $1.4 million to help cities and counties within Florida pay for the removal of many of these vessels. But the big thing is education and community organization, maybe communities getting together and educating folks on how to dispose of their vessels properly, and not to just walk away from it when it becomes at the end of its life. That appears to be the main reason that these vessels get like this, is people just keep selling them or trading them off for lower and lower amounts until finally they're giving it away to get it out of their hands, and then the last person to own it usually does not have the means to dispose of it properly.
All right, understandable. And Mayor Sharon, say you all as municipalities start charging for the mooring field, the proposed mooring field that was discussed in Adam's story. What do you think the result of that would be? Would it work out well?
Well, first of all, in order to establish a mooring field, we have to receive a request and receive a submerged land lease for the land, because it is state land. And then it's to go through the process of putting in a mooring field, so that we can have the controls on who is anchored there, that they do have insurance, that they do have the proper equipment, and that's the ultimate goal in order to control our problem.
And let's just say you start charging for people, but some of these people say they can't afford to pay, they leave the boats. Do you all end up footing the bill to remove those boats that are left there in the end? That
would probably be part of our of the mooring field practice when we got the mooring field. Then we would have to remove the unqualified boats, and then of course any new boats coming in would be insured and controlled with proper equipment.
And Mr. Horning, you talked about the outreach. Let's say something like this were to be put in place. How do you all reach out to these people?
Well, we're doing that in different communities with, for instance, in Monroe County this year and for the next 3 years, we're going to be trying a vessel turn-in program, educating the citizens that there is an opportunity for them to get rid of their vessels before they become derelict and sink. I know that the West Coast Inland Navigational District, or WCIND, does quite a bit in Manatee County to assist with these issues as far as removal is concerned. And it's just a fine balance of education, outreach, and prosecution also. These people for leaving a derelict vessel on the waters of the state. It is a first-degree misdemeanor, and the officers can enforce that, bring them to court, and then seek sentencing for that. So it's a fine mix of enforcement, education, and funding.
Very true.
And Mayor Sharon, last thing here, some of these people who live on these boats have mentioned that they can't afford to live otherwise. So if they were removed from the boats, told they couldn't live there, would they possibly then be homeless, further contributing to the homeless issues we're already having on the Suncoast?
Well, that's it would be a different place to be homeless, I guess. Would be the unfortunate reality of it. And I want to take this opportunity too to thank WCIND. Bradenton Beach, we're a small town. They're assisting us with a grant to up to $34,000 we've spent already on removing these vessels. So thanks to WCIND. If it wasn't for them, we would have a real problem.
All right. Well, Mayor Sharon and Phil Horning, thank you all so much for being with us. A complicated issue that it looks like you all are doing your very best to help solve.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we'll have some viewer comments.
On Animal Outtakes, every week, it's a new animal adventure. From meeting curious lemurs to feeding big cats and hosing down rhinos, there's never a dull moment. And sometimes these amazing animals chime in. Tune in to Animal Outtakes to find out what they have to say. Watch Animal Outtakes this weekend on ABC 7.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better eater.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
This Sarasota Powerboat Grand Prix Minute is brought to you by Sarasota Ford.
Each year during the Sarasota Powerboat Grand Prix Festival, local fishing enthusiasts, boat captains, and government agencies volunteer their time to take more than 80 special needs clients out for a day of fishing on Sarasota Bay. It's called the Friendliest Catch. After a day on the water, every participant is a winner and recognized during a special lunch and awards presentation held at the Sarasota Sailing Squadron.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, because Sarasota Ford guarantees you our lowest price on every new Ford every day. Save on America's best-selling truck, 39 years running, the Ford F-150. Fusions, Escapes, over 800 vehicles on-site or online, all on sale. Buy with 0% for 60 months. And now, get up to $2,000 trade assistance. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
As we reported at the top of tonight's show, a federal judge has blocked portions of a Florida abortion law that was set to go into effect today. The injunction stops parts of the law mandating abortion providers not receive any taxpayer money. The requirement for annual inspections of abortion records, that was also blocked. Here's what you had to say about the ruling. Brittany Conrad Ringlever writes, "Glad to hear this law is getting temporarily stopped and hopefully it's overturned. The states need to stop trying to restrict a woman's right to abortions by coming up with these ridiculous restrictions." Robert Lawwill writes, "Whatever happened to states' rights?" And Sherry Roberts writes, "There isn't any reason a responsible woman should get pregnant today, but why bother using precautions when you can just kill the baby?" If you would like to join this conversation on tonight's topic that we talked about with the derelict boats, please visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. That's all the time we have this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tonight at 11. Have a wonderful 4th of July weekend.